Welcome to Ecstatically Ever After, a podcast where we dive deep into the sacred art of traditional courtship and show you how to attract an everlasting love affair with your king, with Claudia Phillips and her beloved husband, Jonathan Phillips. Ladies, the fairy tale isn't just a fantasy, it is your divine birthright. Hello, hello, beautiful friends of Facebook. How is everyone doing today?
Hello. I also want to say hello to those that are going to catch it on the podcast later. Yes.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Hello. We hope everybody is having a delightful 2025 so far. We've been sort of slow in getting back into the swing of things here, but we're super excited to be here with you live to dive into this topic.
I love it. She says it's going slow. I guess it is. I feel like our King's Road, our Women Finding Love, it's been going gangbusters this year.
I think I'm having a little bit of a slow time.
You are.
Back into the flow of things because I took some time off and it was really nice.
Cool. Yeah. I kind of went aggro this over the holidays.
You did, yeah.
Here we are. And I think we have a great topic for the new year.
Yeah.
It is how to create a positive feedback loop in your dating life. What a great thing to do in 2025. I mean, who out there, whether you're single or married, and this is mostly for single people today, wants a nice positive feedback loop in their love life?
Yeah, and I just saw Jag jumped on. Hey, Jag, Happy New Year. Just get a little heart. Awesome. Yeah, so let's just dive in, shall we?
Yeah, so I thought before we dive in, we're going to go over 4 ways to do this to hopefully totally change patterning and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about what are some of the negative feedback loops you see or how people get into that. What are the most common things that you see?
Yeah, well, I think it all comes from the fact that we as women don't know our power in love and specifically our power to set the tone with the masculine. And so we'll go about our love lives or go about our dating lives. We'll approach it from this place of almost powerlessness. And I'm sort of a victim here. I'm a victim to how men are showing up or how they're not showing up, or, you know, I'm a victim to whether men are in their masculine or whether men are not in their masculine, and or men are showing up with chivalry or not showing up with chivalry. And so it can feel like a lot of the times we are having a very random experience in dating. Like we're just sort of getting a bunch of different, lots of different experiences that are very up and down, very all over the place. It's sort of like being a leaf in the wind and having lots of random experiences because we don't actually understand our power as women. So this is something that we teach to our clients, is like actually how to be in your power in relationship with a masculine, and specifically as you are dating for marriage, as you are on a journey of courtship, dating for ultimately with the intention of finding your husband.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we specialize here. We really are. We used to do partnerships, but we really believe in marriage. And
yes.
It's just such a cool container. We had no idea ourselves that husband and wife templating would be the coolest thing ever. But when you said that, like, what hits me is if they're doing that now, that's what's been going on.
Yes.
And maybe part of the problem there's a bad feedback loop is it's been going on a long time. You know, we see this all the time. People who come in to learn courtship, which is very different than modern dating, they will bring 10, 15, 20, 30 years of bad dating feelings and practices, patterning in belief systems, because that's how it's gone. That's how it always will be.
Yes.
Into the current love life, even though it's like, no, you're about to learn a totally new way. It'll work out.
Yes.
But that feedback loop, it's really strong in the beginning. We'll often see women really struggle when they come into our work. And I think it's partially because it's an all or nothing. Oh my gosh, this guy didn't show up perfectly. It's not going to work out. Oh, all men don't show up. And it's like, well, wait a second. We're practicing right now. We're practicing. But I think you're getting a lot of old energetic momentum when you get that patterning in there. And it's quite natural because very few people we're finding know what to do in love. It's actually a skill set that needs to be taught.
It's a specific skill set that can actually move us out of a state of feeling totally victimized, right? Or totally like things are just happening randomly and chaotically and we have no power, to actually coming into the throne of our power, right? The throne of our heart, and being able to set the tone and to create an atmosphere within ourselves and through the skills that we practice to actually have a fruitful courtship that leads to lasting love. So we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do to actually create a positive feedback.
4 things, yeah. But before we do, I love that. Yeah. I love this, like the throne of your power, because it hits me that that's what it's all going to be about here, because ladies will come in and not realize the power they have.
That's right.
Because you were saying victim, that kind of surprised me. And this is why I love to do these lives. I feel like we always learn.
Yes.
Because I would always say it's attitude. And a victim attitude is going to come from not understanding how much power you actually have as a feminine woman. This is why we have such confidence that we can get most ladies that are honestly kind of cool partners within a year max, is because they learn what that power is and then they use it wisely.
And the power that women have, we have to understand it's a feminine power, right? It's sort of a feminine power that arises organically through us as feminine women, right? Who God created us to be as feminine creatures. This is not a sort of power over dynamic or a domineering sort of power, or like I'm going to be in charge or in control and I'm going to lead the relationship forward. It's not that kind of power at all. It's more like a soft power. I like using the example of, it's not the power of the sword, it's the power of the rose, right? It's the power of magnetism. It's the power of radiance. It's the power of receptivity. It's the power of vulnerability. It's the power of being able to express our needs and our heart's desires and our feelings in a way that will inspire and more and more and more of what we desire in terms of masculine provision, in terms of masculine leadership, in terms of masculine protection, in terms of chivalry, right? So it's not like hey, I'm going to be this boss babe and I'm going to get my power back and I'm going to be a powerful woman. And I feel like a lot of us women who come from that paradigm, right, of living more in a masculinized state or living more and more or we've shifted out of that, right? We've come more into our feminine essence, into the woman who God has created us to be. To speak about our power sometimes can be feel a little bit weird. Like, I'm not sure I want to find myself in a powerful position anymore because I'm feminine, right? I thought power was masculine. Well, there's a specific flavor of feminine power that you do want to embody that will take you out of a state of feeling like victimized or things are just happening randomly and chaotically and I'm like this leaf in the wind and I'm at the mercy of how men are showing up. That is not a state to go out in, ladies, and that will make you feel 100% of the time like you want to run in the other direction. Like you're going to have a date and feel disempowered because you're not embodying your authentic God-given feminine power, right? And I know this can be challenging for us, right? Because it's like, no, I don't want to be powerful. I want him to have the power. I want to be in this surrendered flow. Well, guess what? Your surrender is an aspect of your feminine power. So we'll speak about this more in the specifics here. But.
Yeah. And if you come to the man with the sword with another sword, you're going to get more defeating feedback loop patterns where when you come as the rose, you have a lot to offer and he will come to you.
Yes, that's right.
We'll get into that more here. So here is the first thing we had, and man, it really is the most important for creating a really positive feedback loop. And this actually works in marriages too. You set the tone. And you set the zone for single people. You set the zone on the first date. Because that first date, what you set is it's like getting off. I hate to use a masculine metaphor, but I'm masculine, okay? When you get off to like a 100 meter dash, how you set the race is how it's going to go. And it's a lot like that with that. When you set the good vibe, when you're in your feminine essence, when you're surrendered back and being adored, wow, and you're having fun.
Yes.
God forbid. And I want to get into how to have a good tone. Things tend to go universally better.
Women don't realize, again, on the first date, how much power we do have to set the tone for an extraordinary courtship and a divine romance, right? That leads to more intimacy and ultimately union over time, right? There are certain postures or way that we can embody and express as women that will kind of make or break a date.
Yeah.
And this is with a man who's a good man, right? So this is not with like a man that you're just going out with and you know, really don't feel attracted to this man or you're not inspired by this man. This is like the things that you can do within yourself, ways that you can be, ways that you can embody within yourself with a man that you are excited about. This is not just about like doing this with any old man, right? But once we get to the first date, there are ways that you can be, there are postures that you can specifically embody as a woman that will inspire him to want to ask you out again, that will inspire him to want to pursue you, that will inspire him to want to ask you out over and over and over again. I'm curious, honey, when you were dating back in whenever you were dating, right?
Back in the old days, yeah.
Back in the old days, right? In your single days. Right?
The I had my Grail Queen days, yeah.
What were some of the things that women would do on a first date that would either set the tone for like you to want to ask them out again, or set the tone for you to never want to ask them out again?
Well, it's easier to go with the negative.
The negative, yeah. Let's talk about that first.
When they came with the list. In fact, that's one of Claudia's first lessons. Throw out the list. When you come with your list, is he 6'2"? Does he make this? It's just there's no space for magic. We're not getting into a tone of like romance. We're getting in a tone of like work. Honestly, they're probably coming with the sword in that situation.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. Now, I don't know in my own life. I'd like to talk about the ladies in our program.
Of course, yeah.
Because that's closer to me right now.
Yeah.
Is I'm always waiting for this moment, because you're also testing out the guys when they get it. Like, oh, she's cool. She's appreciative. She is like listening. She's in her feminine essence. I think they're in their feminine essence. They love being adored. They love being on the date, and they're being present in the moment and letting the magic happen. There is a surrenderedness. I'm open to surrendering. Now, you don't surrender everything on a first date. It's kind of like a test run. But when you get that, you'll see very often, like, think of one of our clients that's now engaged. I knew it the second she was on this date and reported back to us that he got it. This guy got it. And he was so thrilled that women act like this, because look, it's not the majority of women that go on dates like this.
How do you feel like the majority of women go on dates these days?
Please don't take this bet. Entitled, privileged, expectations.
Expectations.
Especially in the modern world. And they come with these, hey, I have a great job. I work hard. I have a nice house.
Prove yourself to me.
Prove yourself to me. And yet, and we have to tell our women that want to work with us, like, that actually has nothing to offer the men.
Yeah.
Oh, but the man, you want that more from the man. But it's the appreciation, the being Cinderella. Men want to be the suitor, not the pursued. They want to be I always say the dark gentleman. They're kind of like a mysterious gentleman that can whisk you away. And we get into this, but they know they can win when women come appreciative, surrendered, and in their feminine essence.
I love that.
And it's very edgy when we first teach this, but it's universally why women come into this work, because they're tired. It's almost like you have to do all the work when you come in with the entitled attitude, right?
Oh, wow. I never thought about that before, but yeah.
I hadn't either.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah. And then you might get into issues of like being exhausted. This is the number one issue we see. Because if you're always the pursuee, instead of being kicked back, like, I can't think of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, she kicks back and she has all this power by kicking back in the dance. So that's how you set the tone. And I often say, how you set the tone? Go in your heart and see your own romantic movie unfolding.
I love that.
Tonality is your reality. Okay, I think we have a comment or a question.
Oh, and she says, once I learned from you too how to really be in that feminine state on dates, it must have become much easier and fun. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and Anne's interesting since she's posting here because she has this quality that you need on a date. I always say there's three tenets to romance or courtship: God, reason, and magic. The men bring more of the reason. Women have to learn a touch of this too to understand masculine timing. God's in charge, but the women bring the magic. Like you don't have to do all these things. You just have to listen, be appreciative, talk about your taste, have some fun. And it brings a magic into men's life that literally I will battle all monsters out there to protect the magic of Claudia for me. I think it brings out the inner Saint Michael in men.
I love that.
Do you want to move on to 2 here?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you read 2 here?
Well, this is kind of a follow-up from what you were just speaking to specifically, but it's the quality and it's the principle that really is, it just seems to be this way that like when you, you appreciate someone, right? What you appreciate appreciates. So, right. So when you're on a date with a man and you are genuinely appreciative of his efforts and his, opening the door for you and his pulling out the chair and his paying for the meal and his taking you home, right? When you're genuinely appreciative of him, this is like water to a masculine man's soul. Like it really, really is. Like, truly, when we just express like genuine gratitude and appreciation for all of the little things that he's doing, all of the gestures of nobility, of chivalry. Yeah, maybe he's not perfect, right? Maybe he's taking you out to lunch instead of like a 5-star, a 5-course Michelin starred meal. And that's okay. But like, can you still be in this state of appreciation for all of the little things that he's doing? Because that's going to make him feel successful with you. That's going to make him feel like he wants to stand up 10 feet tall, right? And like to keep coming back over and over and over again and be like, I want more of that. I want to be around a woman who appreciates me, because especially right now, men are like being depreciated. They are being undervalued. They are being devalued. And so a man's going to go where he feels appreciated. And there are just ways that we can express that to him, not in like an over melodramatic way or anything like that, not in a fawning response, but just being like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That made me feel so special, right? Thank you so much. I had the most amazing time on this date. Thank you so much. I loved the meal, right? So when he feels that from you, he's going to want to come closer to you, because men need to feel appreciated and they need to feel like they are winning, like they are being successful with you.
Love it. I was hoping you'd bring actual expressions, because I'm all about the communication.
Yeah.
I think it's energy, communication, strategy. And I love this coffee shop. I adore this place. Or they're into Mozart. I just, classical music moves my soul. And I teach exalted masculinity. I don't exactly teach polarity, although that's a part of it. Mm-hmm. I think there's more of a God-basedness to exalted masculinity. And this is like the feminine version of that. She's using exalted language to exalt him. Mm-hmm. Yes. I always say, don't trust the men right away. We give them the benefit of the doubt. Trust the masculine. And when she's doing this, it's like hitting all the men's his nervous system in all the right ways. And you become, and you can be awkward, you can be nervous. Most people still have, they have some body issue they're dealing with or something. No, you don't have to go in perfect. Mm-hmm. But when you use this, you turn into a maestro. Mm. And it's like this surrendered maestro. And so women that are very aggressive in business, in their entrepreneurship, they love this other talent of just kicking back more and just appreciating the men. I kind of want to show the opposite of that.
Absolutely. I love a little compare and contrast.
A few years ago, we had a client, and we actually did a live, I think after that. It was like 5 ways to kill a date before you even go on it.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And It was someone, he didn't find the right place. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. And we knew by the time she actually showed up for this date, it wasn't going to go well. Mm. And so one way you can start appreciating dates is appreciating your life and appreciating men in general. You can practice this with your barista, with the bank teller, with your male clients. Like, this is a skill. Claudia uses all the time and gets free stuff wherever she goes. It's a superpower, but it's not a Superman, punching through walls. It's
it's a soft feminine
it's a
power.
soft one. Yeah. And men love appreciation. It's like an elixir to them. And it's just so needed in the world. This is why I think our mission is to help 200 women and men get married this year, because it's like having men feel appreciated again. Cause we always, I think women test men too much in the wrong ways. There's times to test, sure. But I feel like they're always testing him. And if he fails at this one thing, he doesn't stand up. Well, if you build all this appreciation, and then when the test actually comes later on, watch him stand up. Watch him be strong. Watch him be solid, because you have built this magic with him.
And it creates such goodwill too.
Yeah. I mean, since Claudia's gone Catholic, I'd say the appreciation meters have gone out the roof, and I'm like happy hubbins every day. That's what she calls me. I'm just out there to like do good in the world. I actually am going to put up a post: when you appreciate, he will rise to the stars.
Yes.
When you criticize, he will run off to the moon. And there's something to that. And what's great about this appreciation frequency is it'll create a great second date, a third, and a fourth. And you've solved the problem on date one of why relationships fall apart. They're not appreciating. So we solved this problem of the other shoe dropping, relationships falling, the honeymoon phase ending, because you're only going to grow that appreciation over time when you learn this skill set.
Yes. And I think women really need to watch out for that. Like, he's not enough. He's not doing enough. He's not giving me enough. He's not, right? So we want to have discernment, but so often we mistake discernment for being critical, right? We actually because we'll go into our head and we'll get entitled and we have the list and we're like, does he check these boxes? Okay, nope, off with his head, right? And so we'll get into this space of being hypercritical of men, which takes us out of our feminine power, takes us out of our true receptivity and our true heart and our surrender, right? And our appreciation. And it kind of kills the vibe, right? It's like, let's say courtship is just this beautiful path, right? It's this beautiful road that's going to take you to the union of your life, the love of your life. And it's a guaranteed path, right? And part of the way that you get from where you are right now down the path, down the road, is through appreciation. And it's when we like move into criticism, when we move into judgment, when we move into he's not enough, when we move into entitlement, it's like we're actually stopping dead in our tracks. We're like, we're killing that, right? And we do it, right? Because we're guarded, or we've been wounded, or we have avoidant patterning, or we're like, prove yourself to me. You need to show that you're man enough, right? This is all the opposite of appreciation, right? This is depreciation. And when you show up in this energy, a man can never be enough. He will never rise to the occasion. He will never want to spoil you and treasure you and cherish you for the rest of your life, because he won't feel seen. He won't feel valued. He won't feel motivated to rise up, to step forward, to come in with that masculine claiming energy, which is actually our next.
Fantastic. I want to be very clear. We're not judging anybody. Like, this is everyone that comes into our work.
Yeah.
But this is why we even ask things are you willing to have a winning attitude? Like, you have to be willing to learn appreciation as a skill. Yeah. And it's amazing when it works, because you appreciate your own life. The one thing we've noticed is those that are harder on the men, they're typically harder on themselves too. Mm-hmm. So it's a softening of the heart around the masculine, and usually your own feminine heart as well. So it's a really cool inner and outer conversion or transformation that happens. Mm-hmm. Before we go to number 3, and I want to say, I really love the word you did. Like, it's like it's guaranteed to work.
Yeah, it just works out.
We don't do guarantees in our program, but it's pretty much that way. That's why it's called the King's Road. It's like driving school. It works out. We have like 100% certainty and faith in courtship, because it has these stages of certainty that just get the result. That's what's so cool about this. I often feel love coaches, I'm not sure what they do. It's a little over here and there instead of going down a straight path. Appreciation makes that path a lot easier and more fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So number 3.
So learn how to inspire masculine pursuing energy. So what makes a masculine man want to pursue a woman? Let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
All right. The horse is going to bring up a fish. And please understand this is just a metaphor, but no, I won't use a fish. I'll use the husky. We have a husky, and whenever Claudia or I try to make the husky do something by commanding it, it doesn't go very well. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we give him the treat, he'll follow orders very quickly. He'll obey. He'll do cool things. We don't want a man obey, but he'll pay attention. The feminine essence, the grail that men are questing, it's just who you are. You're already this. This is why you don't have to do a lot to get the husband of your dreams. But it's your feminine essence, that elixir, that being charming, talking about your taste, what you love, passions. It's funny how if you say, wow, I really love classical music, he'll send you some cool classical things. We're going to go to the Marriage of Figaro, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to have a date like that. So it's by one, being appreciative, being in your feminine essence, and just being yourself, surrendered. But I also think you can drop the handkerchief.
Let's talk more about that. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you give me, Claudia and I on our first date here, why don't you give me a drop the handkerchief line?
So what I might say towards the end of our date is, or at the end of our date is, okay. Jonathan, I had such a lovely time this evening. Thank you so much for such a wonderful dinner. And I really look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Great. I know a great jazz place with dinner, you know?
Yeah.
I'd really love, it's that simple. And I swear to God, in a good way, that dropping the handkerchief will change society entirely. Post Me Too era. And I'm watching this all the time with men, right? Who's the narcissist? It's like, this is me. I'm watching out for that because I can catch him a mile away.
Yeah.
You need to drop the handkerchief for men to show up. Because we're so like, hey, we need that open invitation, and a lot of masculine, noble guys will come in.
Yes.
So when you drop that handkerchief, you get what you want. Now, Claudia uses this on me all day long, and I know she's doing it. It's like a trick. Hey, I'd really like da-da-da, and here I am taking out the trash, or da-da-da. And it works on my nervous system. In fact, there have been times where you haven't done that, like 3 years ago or something. And I literally said to you, like, could you please ask me in the formula we have our clients use? Because I just see it. My defenses, men are meant to defend and fight and, kick ass. And so if she hits me in this other way of like aggressive, demanding,
like penetrating you,
penetrate me, controlling. Right. And you want that polarity. We don't want to all just be all the same. Mm-hmm. So when you do this, he just rises up and becomes Sir Lancelot. It's crazy. And if you don't, you're going to keep getting guys that avoid, they ghost, or they're not going to be guys that you're that into.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, our ladies do it. I mean, this is how we got engaged.
Yeah. One step at a time.
Yeah. And you were dropping the handkerchief in Italy. And that was a big move for us because we're kind of wild spiritual people. And it became the coolest thing ever. And I got on my knee, bought you the ring, and got on my knees on the Ponte Vecchio. And there we are.
Yeah.
How did we do it? She dropped the handkerchief. And that happened. That's like I said, this stuff appreciates from the first date on.
Yes, it appreciates, it compounds, it grows and grows and grows unless we cut it off, right? Unless we do something to sabotage it, which is something that we want to avoid doing, right? And the dropping the handkerchief piece, I love that. I love that you brought that in because it is the feminine setting the tone, the feminine being the invitation, the feminine sharing her feelings, expressing her desires, sharing what makes her happy and what she appreciates. This combination of factors is what inspires a man to keep coming back over and over and over and over again. And this is where we source our true feminine power is in this skill set, in these soft arts.
Yeah. Even Claudia saying that, like getting into that vibe and appreciating this, I feel it in my system right now. And it makes him want to be the hero.
Yes.
See, your feminine superpower is not being the hero. And this is why all these Hollywood movies are just failing right now. They're trying to make girl bosses save the day. And I think there's room for that in a cool way. But, I want to just her saying that, I feel my nervous system. I want to step up and be the stud. Which honestly is kind of the next one.
It's the last one. Yeah. Yeah.
Do we want to go to that, or is there more you want to say?
No, I feel complete with that one. I feel like that's a good segue into our last one.
Yeah, each one kind of leads into the other one. And the final one is?
Present him with opportunities to win with you. So there are lots of different ways that we can do this, ladies, and this is stuff that we teach in our Kings Road program specifically on how to present him with opportunities to win with you. But really understanding, working with masculine psychology, like the masculine is wanting to make us happy. He's wanting to provide for us. He's wanting to give us the desires of our heart, right? And if we take that as a given, like giving men the benefit of the doubt and trusting that they do want to make us happy and they want to provide for us and all of these things, when we take that as a given, we can align with masculine psychology and how it actually works. And it is this feedback loop that we can create around giving him, presenting him with micro opportunities to win with us by sharing what it is that we desire and what it is that would make us happy. And that's, again, we're not going to get into super specifics here, but that's the principle, right? So I'm wondering if you want to.
Well, once again, sometimes I think for me, the best example is people doing the opposite.
Yeah.
So about 6 years ago, we had a client who had not been on a date in 6 years, and he opened a door. He bought the lunch. He pulled out the chair, and all she did was complain. This is before we knew how to really set people up for amazing dates and like come in appreciative. And I'm sure people can still do this. And you could just tell she was setting him up to fail at every moment. Mm-hmm. And I even think it started from maybe she picked a guy that wasn't quite masculine enough for her, and so even in the selection process, you can set things up to fail.
Yes.
And it's like everything wasn't good enough. Meanwhile, at the end of it, she was really sad and just, I don't know, I'm disheartened. This is never going to work. I'm like, wait a second. You have not been on a date in 6 years. You had a guy ask you out, open the door, buy the dinner, or I think it was lunch, and pay for the bill and walk you back. And that is a win at all. Maybe one of the ways of setting him up to win is I demand this of our clients. You have to take a win at every step because there always is, because you're practicing. And she ended up doing much better down the road, but she had to learn to let him win by seeing the wins. I think one way you let him win is you have to see it's a little bit of practice. You don't need everything to be perfect. And you can't go in being hypercritical. And once again, I think being appreciative, these are all weaving into each other.
They're weaving into each other.
When you're appreciative of him, he gets to win a lot more. I think you even kind of honor and adore a man. You don't want to give too much too early.
Yeah.
But you can start with honoring the man for just showing up. But what are some ways that you see you can let him win? I think this is a little bit more of your study too.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that we go into in a lot more depth in our King's Road, but like really when we can express our desires in a way that inspires a man versus is entitled or even just expecting him to like make all the decisions around. See, this is a problem that women get into a lot. It's like women will be like, oh, he asked me where I wanted to go on a date. He's not masculine, right? If he were really masculine, then he would just take the lead and he wouldn't have to ask me, right? But understanding that aligning with masculine psychology, he wants to make you happy. He wants to know what's actually going to bring you joy, bring you pleasure. And so him asking you what your desires are and being willing to share what they are is, again, it's one of those ways that you can present him with opportunities to win with you, right? To win points, to score points, right? Is to express your desires in a way that he actually can hear you, in a way that is inspiring to him versus makes him not feel inspired.
Yeah.
Right?
And there can be the opposite of that. If he's always asking all the time about everything, then okay. But like we said, we give men the benefit of the doubt, and there's ways to inspire him to step up more.
Yes.
But when it's something like that, like, honestly asking, hey, what food are you into?
Yes.
What cuisine do you like? Do you do coffee or smoothies? Some people don't drink coffee. It's literally it's the general asking for direction so he can then charge the troops. So sometimes he will ask these inquisitive, and I see the polarities guys miss this sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all demand and control all the time.
Yeah.
And that tends to work for a point and then it falls apart. In fact, these guys that do this in dating aren't always the best guys.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're asking a little bit for input, it's not a bad thing.
No.
And I think one way we set them up to fail is just people guards up and they're hyper vigilant. It's that testing. Is he masculine enough for me? Is he masculine enough for me?
It's the testing.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he is. Let's give some breathing space to the date and let him actually exist. I think we're sometimes projecting whatever is going on, and hey, I get it, onto him instead of letting him breathe and be. And when you do that, honestly, I've never seen so many 7s out of 10s luck out as in this work. They seem like 7s. And then about 2 months later, this lady is just madly in love with this guy, and he's a 10 because he found the right woman, and she sees his heart and how much this guy actually has studded up in his life. He's got a good job. He's got his stuff together, and his feet have met his actions the whole way.
And she's given him an opportunity to win with her. And when we do this, it's like he becomes more attracted to us. And then we create a positive feedback loop versus a negative feedback loop.
Bingo.
Right. And it's like we both win versus having a lose-lose situation. Right. So that's one of the ways being able to express our desires in a way that inspires and gives him the information he needs to be able to win with us, to be able to succeed with us, make him happy. Another way that we can do it is just let him solve our problems, or let him, let him guide us around something. If for example, you have a business and the man that you're dating is also in business, can you ask him for business advice? Like, let him take the lead on that. Let him instruct you on something. Let yourself learn something new from this man. He's going to feel successful. He's going to feel useful. He's going to feel needed. He's going to feel wanted, right? It's going to make him feel like a hero. It's going to make him feel like he's winning with you. And again, it's going to create that dopamine effect in his brain where it's like, oh, I want to be around with that woman more. I want to help her. I want to take care of her. I want to help solve her problems, right? And he's going to feel like $1 million around you when you take that approach. So these are just a few ways that you can trigger that hero instinct in your man and really make him feel successful and want to come back over and over and over again.
I love that. When we talked about this topic, I had thought of it as a feedback loop for the individual, for their overall courtship journey, because that's often what I'm responsible for, is getting them through the journey.
Yes.
But you're right. It's about this feedback loop with each other. And it starts with just men in general and having a good feedback loop with the masculine, but eventually it gets into a good feedback loop with 2 to 3 high quality suitors and then one person. And you create this really amazing alchemy that turns into magical engagements and sacred marriages. Because the one thing we've seen is, as much as we love tradition, a lot of those marriages have a lot of challenges. Whereas if you go through this kind of process, those challenges lessen a lot. And you guys we just adore each other.
It's like the circuitry that we go higher and higher and higher. It creates this feedback loop between us where it's not like we're dipping in our relationship or having big fights like we used to, right? Like we're just happy around each other most of the time. Like, and we call it like the eternal honeymoon effect, where things just get better and better and better. Of course, you might have moments, you might have challenges, you might get triggered or something like that here and there, but the upward trajectory, it goes up and up and up versus down and up all the time, roller coaster effect, or spiraling down to the point where you have to either break up or, let that person go because you don't know how to create this positive feedback loop.
And that's why we get canceled and criticized in social media all the time, because by people that are, I get it. We work with divorcees all the time, but bitterly divorced.
Yeah.
Because we don't expect that. That's not what's going to happen. something magical and sacred's going to happen for those that have ears to hear. And that's the journey we like to take people on.
Yes.
Now, I don't even go down that road that people are complaining about so much, but it took us years to refine and master this. And what we like is we can now jump the timelines for people.
Yes.
They don't have to go through the years of experience we did. They can have great relationships in 3 months. We've saved marriages on the brink in 2 weeks. And I don't think it's just because Claudia and I are great coaches. I'd like to think so. It's because we teach this amazing modality with principles that work when you apply them. And when you go against them, you'll feel the pain. And it's called courtship, which God is in charge of. So there's this kind of godly container to take you through the whole thing.
Yes.
And that said, 2025 is here. If you are interested in up-leveling your love life, especially what we really want to talk to is if you want to meet your king, your husband this year, we would love to talk to you. We have our 2024 pricing that's ending. We've extended it into the new year. So if you are interested in doing the King's Road or seeing about it, if it's that time for you, your Cinderella season.
Yeah. And if you're in a experience, maybe you've been dating, maybe you've been putting yourself out there, but you keep hitting up against the same kinds of patterns over and over and over again. And you feel like it's just all random and it's all chaotic. And it's like, you just feel kind of out of control with it. Like you want to be able to come back into your feminine power and begin to create a positive feedback loop by using some of these skills that we teach.
Yeah, I even want to say if you've maybe been dating someone for a few months and you're in this situationship, we've had in our King's Road, we've seen a lot of these up level into engagements and marriages. We've opened that up to those as well. You can come in for this work as well. So we have special pricing that will end after this week. If you book we have some slots for next week. If you book your call this week, we'll honor that pricing.
Yes.
I will put a link in the comments. And on the podcast, you'll catch it there. And we'll do a love diagnostic call where we'll go deep into your love life, see what's working, what's not. It's free. And if we can help you, we'll totally invite you in and show the way. So if you'd like to change your love life and meet him the next 6 months to a year, a lot of people reach out to us and say yesterday, you're the kind of folks we can help.
Yep.
So if you've needed some hope, some people with certainty on this topic, please come in for a call and I'd love to speak with you.
Thank you, honey.
All right. Thank you.
That's it. So thank you so much, those of you who watched. Just let's see if there's any more questions. Okay. Hi, Claudia. All right. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. Have a fantastic January and we will see you very soon.